NY in Harlem. That's right. Yes, you're back for another episode of Q&A Ask a Sifu with your host, BT. Alright, I got a famous Hung Gar expert. That's right, he's an expert. Sifu Sharif A. How you doing, brother? He's dressed looking like he's from, back in the days. What's that Coolie High movie or something like that? Sugar Hill Gang, really.
There you go.
Alright, so I want to ask you about, I see a lot of Hung Gar practitioners. I even had a few Hung Gar practitioners at the Man Upstand, not from your crew, not from your family, but the Yeez. Yeez is famous for their Hung Gar.
I want to say real quick, I'll say, my Sifu, he talks less, you know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of work, you know, and the credit that whatever we get, or whatever notoriety we have, it really comes from his hard work, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it really does. I'm not even being modest, I'm not being flattering. The man works non-stop, and whatever we have that people say, wow, they're good, it's because of his work. Grandmaster Frankie.
And I agree with Grandmaster Frankie. He's good. He even grant me a gracious interview once before.
He did.
And when I wish I still had, I don't know what I did with the disc. So many people hit me up on the email, asked me, Phil, is either Grandmaster Frankie, Sharif. Right now it's neck to neck between Sharif and Grandmaster Watts. I'm keeping it real. I done interview a lot of cats. Well, just one started it, but he's part of the organization. But I'm back in action, so that's why it's called Ask a Sifu, because I go to the top. I don't mess with the students. Topic is today. I'm going to ask you about Hung Gar function real time. I've seen a few Hung Gar practitioners that I'm not going to say. Well, I am going to say that, man. I'm stand up.
Right.
And I had a discussion with a guy about real time uchits.
Yes.
Hung Gar applications, because I always feel that Hung Gar to me is considered characteristics of the tiger. And I mean, of course, you're gonna correct me if I'm wrong. The tiger crane style. Of course, they got more to it with the iron wire, higher level skills. I believe that's their most advanced set.
Yes.
If I'm correct. I did a little research myself, but I don't try to mingle in different debates, because if I'm not knowledgeable in it, I'm not going to throw myself out there to be run over by a bus of knowledge. That's just not my style. I stick to what I do. You know what I'm saying? Change and adapt, baby. Ba Gua.
That's right.
Don't teach the Wu-Tang that Shaolin. Anyway, I'm just joking around. Just throwing it around. We Wu-Tang cats, we keep it center, and we keep it cool and smooth, baby. Most of the Wu-Tang dolls is womanizers anyway. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I am one, but hey, I'm just stop joking. But anyway, on the real, I want to ask you about the Hung Gar techniques of, why I don't see a lot of these practitioners. And Hung Gar is a famous style, during the time when people were depressed.
Yes, sir.
And why not? They had clans, rebels. I guess that's why they had that secret finger hand and things of that nature. I know a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Just like slavery, they was depressed people.
Absolutely.
And why not? So why today, in modern time, I see these dudes, they do these sets.
Yes.
But and that not just in Hung Gar, but in general. But being that we're talking about Hung Gar, this is what the topic is. Why I don't see them applying the movement, the tiger movement.
The real issue, like you said, it's bigger than. I'll speak from the Hung Gar perspective, but it's bigger. It's really a Kung Fu perspective. Actually, it's a martial art perspective.
Okay.
So even a lot of the other systems that are outside of Chinese martial arts suffer from the same thing. It's you see them do the form and the curriculum, the forms and the patterns, but then you see them free fight, and it doesn't look like what they train. And I'm gonna cut right to the chase. The number one reason why that's an issue is because this stuff is no longer the main stuff used to kill people on the battlefield.
That's that in your other interview. I remember.
That's the number one reason, and so because it's no longer the major way to engage the enemy in combat, then the actual combat training and understanding is lost, forgotten, discarded, because of a lack of necessity. That's just the bottom line. It's a lack of necessity. So, we say necessity is the mother of invention. Let's say even today, right now in the next 5 minutes, if civil alert alarms went off and tanks started rolling down the street and martial law was declared, all of a sudden, now our reasoning for the general reason people do martial arts would change immediately. Now people are thinking, I got to get back home and I may have to fight 2 or 3 people, and not fight over not fight some crackhead or some stick-up kid. I might have to fight somebody because I have a nice warm coat that they want to have for their daughter because there's no more heat, there's no more power. So I have to fight for my life now. Now my perspective has changed. You see what I'm saying? And so this is the mindset that the people who founded these things and trained these things arduously in those days had. Their mindset wasn't competitive mindset. Their mindset was, I gotta live. And I got to protect my country, I have to protect my principles, I have to protect the right thing, you know, I have to restore justice. And these are all things bigger than my flesh. They're bigger than me. So I'm expendable. You know what I mean? And that's the martial mindset. The martial mindset is something that's bigger than me that I have to protect. You know? Yeah. So now dialing it back down to our style, you know, in Hung Gar, there's a lot, our style, movie culture made our style very popular. Yeah. You know, with the Shaw Brothers movies and things like that. And so that drew a lot of attention, a lot of attraction. Yeah. You know, so nowadays, even now in 2013, you see Tiger Claw, you see Crane Beak, you see Leopard Paw. Yeah. You're thinking, wow, cool stuff.
Even Sammo Hung, I seen him do it against in the Yip Man movie.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, it's right. Shout out to Sammo Hung. You know, he gave us a really strong support during the filming of Yip Man 2 when he had the heart attack. He actually told the producers, if I don't make it, go to Toisan and go see Grandmaster Frank Y because he could finish my part. Actual fact that happened. And as a matter of fact, I'll tell you viewers, as a matter of fact, the producers didn't wait. They contacted my Sifu anyway, and while Sammo Hung was in the hospital recovering, my Sifu went on set and showed a number of techniques that he thought were going to be done by Sammo Hung since Sammo Hung played the Hung Gar man. But instead, Donnie Yen did them against the boxer in the final fight scene. So the moves where you see where he uses the bong sao against his biceps, he uses the bong sao against the bicep, where he uses the crane beak, where he uses the leopard paw and the grinding bridge, and then he uses, those are all techniques that my Sifu showed them on the set.
That speaks volumes for Frank E, but you know, I already know he's a remarkable man. Been in the game for a long time, and one like you yourself, you know a lot of cats don't, you know, now a lot of cats know you, you know, BT, you know, I had to bring him out the woodwork, you know what I'm saying? I got him in the cold right
here. I owe my whole video or online presence to Novell.
This is exclusive because I'm tired of you guys emailing me. I know where he at, man. Come on, he got his own channel, right? You got your own channel now, man. And he's coming out with his own philosophy show.
Oh, that's what's up.
And why not?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you know, either the contest Sifu Sharif if you want some Hung Gar techniques or knowledge. You know
I'm always showing love to BT.
I got love for all you, all my people, and all my haters too. I got love for y'all.
Now back on back on the topic. So with you know, the lack of understanding of how to use it, that comes from the root of that is a lack of necessity to use it. You know, the lack of necessity in the minds of the people. Nobody's thinking, hey, I got to kill somebody, you know, to save my family. You know, nobody's thinking. See, the military mindset is conflict resolution. The military mindset isn't we prolong conflict and kill more people and have more bodies and have more violence. The military mindset is I get it done and over with. That's, you know, it's maximum efficiency. One bullet, one body. You know, if I have to do it, I'm going to end you and I'm going to do what I got to do. You know, that's really the military mindset. Now, like I was saying before about, like, for instance, some of the famous Hung Gar handshakes, black, you know, Tiger Claw, Crane Beak, and all these things. We've been conditioned through entertainment, through the film industry, that these are cool things. Oh, that's cool. I want to fight like that because that's cool. There's nothing cool about death. There's nothing cool about killing. You see what I'm saying? Now, the fact of the matter is, it's just like with you guys with the this means death. And it's not gonna look pretty when it's done. It's gonna look very nasty. So even I tell my own students, I'm like, you know, a real Kung Fu fighter when he fights and he's on his game, it doesn't look like Kung Fu theater. It doesn't look like a Shaw Brothers movie. It looks like Jason in Friday the 13th. That's what it really looks like. You see? And that's the thing that people want in general, want to associate themselves with things that are cool. They think that are cool, but they don't want to associate themselves, or that, you know, they're not so readily to associate themselves with real violence and how to deal with real conflict. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
So that comes first. Now, with the training, nothing beats foundation. Everybody can make their hand into the shape of a tiger claw. Not everybody has a tiger claw.
sure.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I know. Pussy cats.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
I ain't gonna, you know I'm a joke around. But
So
he's right.
The truth of the matter is, when you see these kind of handshakes, so what they represent, that you are doing some very nasty things to people. But the handshake doesn't do it. It's your hard work, over a long period of time on the foundation that makes it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what it is. So, you know, and then there's the progression. Number one is foundation. Two, from foundation comes structure, technique. Technique is only applied foundation. It's okay, now I have an iron bridge and a solid stance and a flexible waist. What can I do with it? Technique grows out of how to use the foundation. So you have foundation, you have structure, which is technique. Then now you must shock, test, or develop the technique, right?
Yeah.
In progressive stages. So you go from technique to skill development, two-man drills, apparatus, these types of things, okay? Then, after a while with skill development, that transforms into skill challenge. Now it's like, oh, okay, we've done 3-star for a while, for instance. I think I've got a little something. Let's see who can go further. Now that's competitive in a sense, or not so much competitive, but now it's challenge. And then you go from skill challenge to combat. So by the time you get to combat, you're carrying everything else with you. So your fighting should, at that point, not look like kickboxing, unless that's what you're training. Your fighting at that point should embody all the skills, you know, the structure, the foundation, everything in real time, not choreographed, not, you know, preset. You see what I'm saying? And that's the general formula that we use.
It's basically the same formula I say, basically like I would say in Yin style.
Yeah.
My teacher would say foundation,
Yes.
Shinfa,
Nice.
usage.
Nice.
Nice. Hold it up.
Nice.
Those three is the same thing.
Same thing.
And why not? So once you have a foundation, then you have to know the proper structure and the proper movement. When you know proper movement and structure, then you know usage. And why not? And that, my friend, depends on you, because your Sifu can't fight your battles. That's what he's always telling me. And why not? So you have to come to your own understanding of your art.
Right. And that's the beautiful thing. See, what you just said, again, we're all speaking the same language.
Yeah.
You know, we may, you know, your style developed in a different part of China at a slightly different time. My style developed in a different place, but we're all saying the same thing, maybe using slightly different language, but we're all saying the same thing. You know, you were mentioning, for instance, even about the iron wire form.
Yeah.
You know, we say that the iron wire form is the highest form in a Hung Gar, right? This is why it represents one of the highest stages of development of the person doing the style. You know, in other words, there's a form and then there's a level of accomplishment that form represents. You know what I mean?
See, so it's like all the training that you begin from your foundation put into that form. I feel what you're saying. Oh, deep stuff.
You just said it. You just said it. You just said it.
Boy BT, no.
You just said it. That's real. It's in. You know, one of the ways to look at it is that, and I tell my students this to help motivate them, but it's no less true that all the other forms that they have to progress through up until the iron wire form is to prepare them to do Hung Gar. They're training to do Hung Gar.
That's why you always do the iron. That's why I always see you doing the iron wire. So that's like your favorite form, basically.
Well,
but every time I see you, man, come on now, man. Every time I see you, when I see you back in the days, I was like, man,
you want to know the truth? Now you want to know the truth?
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Yeah.
What I was really doing was the first foundation form, just with the wire principle.
Wow, that's deep.
You see what I'm saying? My Sifu, you know, he, you know, when people come to him, you know, and something this has happened in the past where people have come in to want to learn a higher form, like the iron wire form, for instance. The first thing he says is, let me see your opponent, let me see your first step. Let me see your first step. Because if you're really advanced, you could show the principle and the quality even in the foundation form. You know what I mean? The form does nothing. You know, nobody hires books from college courses to do a job. The book does nothing by itself. You see what you know what I mean? And truth be told, the purpose of the curriculum is to allow, first of all, is to shape and mold the individual a particular way, but then allow them to transcend the curriculum itself. Because the curriculum doesn't fight. The form doesn't, you know what I mean?
It's just a tool.
There you go.
I see what you're saying.
It's a means.
A lot of people don't understand that. It's just there you go. told, it's a tool so that you can gain the knowledge. But what you do with that knowledge depends on you.
Now, here's another misconception, about the iron wire form. Well, let me not say misconception. Let me speak it properly. The way my Sifu taught me and the way he taught my brothers is that iron wire form, a lot of people generally say, well, the iron wire form is an external styles, internal practice.
Yeah.
We don't subscribe to it. Okay? The iron wire form for us represents the end of the beginning.
Okay.
You see? In fact, Gongji, our first set, begins our internal training.
Wow.
You see?
It makes sense because that would be your foundation. It's just like in the Yin style, we have, like I used to always tell you, the 8 palm changes is the most important. If you don't have the first 8, all that 64, the rest don't mean nothing. Just movement.
Yes.
And whatnot. Okay, so for I'm glad I know it's chilly out here in the Hollow
I got
world.
one question. One question. The use of the iron wire in real time. How does that apply?
That's actually what I was kind of leading up to. Let's go back some history. The reason why what we call Hung Gar, first of all, is the name of a political organization. It's very vast. As far as martial arts goes, what's we call Orthodox Hung Gar is what Wong Fei Hung did. Wong Fei Hung advanced the system and gave it the complexion and the curriculum that it has today. Prior to Wong Fei Hung, it didn't look this way. You see? Now, Wong Fei Hung was able to do this because he had 3 Hung Gar teachers from 3 different Hung Gar styles of their day. So remember, the name Hung Gar is not the name of a Kung Fu style, it's the name of a political organization.
See
what I'm saying?
Closer here, man. It's winter. I don't want none of this. Get closer.
It was the name of a political organization. So there were many different collections of martial skills to further the political effort that were came under the name of the political organization, which is Hung Gar, or the Hung Mun. You see? So Wong Fei Hung first learned from his father, Wong Kei-ying, who was a member of the Hung Mun, of the Hung Society. Then, at the age of 14, met the disciple of Tit Kyu-san, of the iron wire form. His name was Lam Fuk Sing. At age of 14, he learned the iron wire form from Lam Fuk Sing at age 14. Then later, he learned from his father's own Sifu, Luke Ah Choi. And Luke Ah Choi was a student of the legendary Ji-sim and Hong Aegon, right? Or Ji-sim, right? So you had 3 different collections of skills under the name Hung Gar that he fused together. And this is why the style looks the way it does today. Make no mistake, each one of those styles was a complete combat system. And that includes what he got from Lam Fuk Sing, the iron wire form. The iron wire form is not just some internal health Qigong stuff. Now let me talk real brief. Let me talk about why the health and the radiant health thing is so important to us for combat. All right. Imagine having to fight, but the day before you were arguing with your girlfriend. She didn't cook you dinner. Up thinking about it all night, so you didn't really sleep. So going into the fight, your vitality's low. Your spirits are low. You see what I'm saying? And then you're across the ring or across the mat from a guy who had a great meal the night before, had a great conversation with his wife. His vitality's up. He's vibrant. Already psychologically, you're at a disadvantage. You see how vibrant he is. You see how strong he is. You see it already. And you see it in his eyes. And he sees yours. So even before you step on the mat, you're already at a disadvantage. You see what I'm saying? This is why the radiant health thing is so important in Hung Gar, because even in the military, special teams like special forces or whatever, the highest part or the highest aspect or the most important aspect of the success of the combat mission is what they call psychological operations. The highest form, the level of confidence in the mission, level of confidence of the troops.
So basically, what I'm gathering from all this in this discussion, the iron wire is really more of a mental exercise.
Well, here's the thing. That's deep. But here's the thing. It's mental, it's sensual, and it's also physical. It's all 3, But more importantly, right, is that it's from the perspective of the inside out. Whereas, let's say Gongji, when we practice Gongji, the beginner doing Gongji, he's moving his arms and limbs You know, so it's from the outside in, and the correct movement, repetitive movement of the arms and limbs starts to gradually give him insight into what happens on the inside of the body. So then, over time and over repetition, over hard work, he begins to now originate the movement from the inside of his body. So instead of two throats cutting the bridge, just being his arms like this, now it's the torso that begins to move, and then finishes the movement. You know what I'm saying? So external really means, in this respect, external really means just from the outside in, from your perception.
Yeah.
You think that the arms and legs are doing it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Internal, from the inside out, means that it starts here first. In other words, it's shape and mind are not at variance. What I see here, I can express here, but it starts here.
So that's why I said. That's why I said. I think it's more of it's the mind forms the shape.
Yes.
And
Yes.
why not mind intention?
Yes.
And why not? I feel. See, I knew that's what it was leading. Because when you said about the other guy's spirit not up, to raise the spirit. And why not? Let's say
this is
you're
why
not
the
hungry.
dragon. This is why in the traditional Shaolin formula of 5 shapes,
Yeah. Okay.
the dragon is first because the dragon raises the spirit. You see what I'm saying? And the snake is second because we raise the spirit to effectively lead the chi, and the snake trains the chi. You see? That's why it's in that order. Now back on the wire form, my Sifu teaches us, Grandmaster Frank E.T.Y., he teaches us that we have 3 levels of understanding for the iron wire form. First, medical, to regulate the body. Right? To bring us to radiant health and balance the body by calming down the yang, calming the heart, regulate the heart. Okay? 2, Qigong, but martial Qigong, to increase the Ging potential or the power potential of the body. Right? 3, combat. How to use it technically, and also to how to explode the power of combat. To use the extreme hard and extreme soft. To be able to create different types of power depending on the tool that you need. You see? So it's 3 levels of understanding for the iron wire form. There's regulation for health, Qigong for martial power, combat. It's a complete system. You see? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you get out of here, just show my viewers a few of these techniques you're talking about. I mean, yeah, I could be here all day talking to you till 12 in the morning. Show my viewers a few of these techniques that you're talking about.
Well, like, for instance, one of the movements in, one of the ways we play, like, for instance, let's say, this particular movement in the wire form, we call gat, right? Gat, meaning squeezing and mop wood. And so this is talking about the elements. One of the other misconceptions in Hung Gar is that the 5 elements are actual techniques. We have representative techniques for them. But really, the elements are philosophy, state of mind. The shape, the animal, is expression, physical expression. But the state of mind is generated by one of the 4 qualities. You see what I'm saying? That's how we teach it. So the feeling generates a state of mind. The state of mind then translates into a particular expression. Okay. See? So with Gatmuchua, the idea is squeezing, like the wood is stringent. You see what I'm saying? That's the feeling. It's, like an axe blade getting stuck in the wood because the wood squeezes, right? And so it's a strong movement, generally using both of the hands with that type of energy, right?
Okay.
So the movement, let's say right, okay? So the movement, ready? Here, okay, like this, okay? Or grab here so you can see. There. Okay? Right, sorry.
No, it's good. I feel it right at the liver, which is wood. No, it's good. I feel it right at the liver.
Or he grabs the arm. Both. Right. Now, he's got me locked. Lock. Good. There. And then go in. So, even slow. There. Again. There. Sorry. So this has got Mucho.
Okay.
Right? Even from close range. Here, there. Close range. Right? The idea is that it moves as one unit.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's got Mucho. Alright? But without the foundation,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. You're just doing a movement. Also, too, the squeezing with the structure.
The infamous forearms of Sharif.
Just the structure alone. So give me a haymaker.
Woo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that one happened.